Charles Leclerc reacts to Hamilton's documents controversy. F1 2025 drama. Is Charles Leclerc at risk of being sidelined at Ferrari as Lewis Hamilton makes waves behind the scenes? The drama in Maranello is heating up, and not everyone agrees on what's really happening. After Lewis Hamilton's headline-making switch from Mercedes to Ferrari, all eyes have been on how he would mesh with his new team. Yet so far, Hamilton's Ferrari journey has been rocky. Despite immense talent and a star pedigree, he's missed the podium in his first 13 races with the Scuderia. Meanwhile, his teammate Charles Leclerc is thriving, racking up a 5th podium finish this year at the Belgian Grand Prix. So when Hamilton began submitting detailed documents to Ferrari's leadership about team improvements and desires for future car projects, speculation exploded. Was Leclerc being edged out of crucial decision-making? But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Leclerc, now in his 7th full Formula One season with Ferrari, dispelled those fears in no uncertain terms. Ahead of the Hungarian Grand Prix, he made it clear to the media that he's far from a bystander in the team's evolution. "Don't worry, I'm of course involved," Leclerc confidently stated during a Thursday press conference. While he admits his approach does not involve compiling formal paperwork like Hamilton, Leclerc emphasized that he is deeply engaged in strategic meetings and actively shares feedback with engineers whenever he's back at Ferrari's home base in Maranello. "Every driver has their own method of giving input. Mine just looks different than Lewis's. That doesn't mean I'm being left out. I'm definitely playing my part." And this is the part most people miss. Ferrari encourages input from both drivers, knowing that diverse perspectives can drive progress. But is it possible that Hamilton's high-profile, hands-on efforts could unintentionally overshadow Leclerc's lower-key, but equally valuable involvement? The debate is open. Hamilton, for his part, has thrown himself into Ferrari's rebuilding with the full force of his experience. He's not content to simply race. He's determined to challenge every aspect of the team's operations, something he says is vital if Ferrari is to recapture its former glory. "This team has an incredible amount of passion and so much potential," Hamilton explained. Yet he also pointed out the obstacles. It's such a large organization. Not every part is performing to its full capacity, and that's why success has been elusive. Perhaps the most controversial point, Hamilton openly stated he refuses to let his Ferrari chapter mirror those of past champions like Fernando Alonso and Sebastian Vettel, who both left Maranello without another world title, despite joining at the height of their powers. Hamilton is committed to breaking that pattern. "I'm here to win, and time isn't on my side." He credits his success at previous teams for teaching him the value of shaking things up rather than simply sticking with tradition. And while he acknowledges Ferrari's progress in areas like engineering and marketing, he insists the work is just beginning. But is Hamilton's aggressive push to transform Ferrari going to unite the team, or risk alienating those, like Leclerc, who've dedicated years to building its foundation? Does Leclerc's more understated approach get the appreciation it deserves, or is the spotlight inevitably shifting to Hamilton? And now, the burning questions for F1 fans. Whose approach do you think will ultimately drive Ferrari back to championship success? Hamilton's assertive, high-profile strategy, or Leclerc's steady team-focused loyalty? Is one driver's influence unfairly overshadowing the other? Or is this robust internal competition exactly what Ferrari needs? Share your thoughts and jump into the debate below. Are you Team Hamilton, Team Leclerc? Or do you see a path where both can thrive? Leclerc versus Hamilton. Ferrari's lead driver speaks out. F1 2025 Insights. Imagine being in the shoes of Charles Leclerc, the lead driver for Ferrari, and finding yourself ahead of the legendary Lewis Hamilton. What an exhilarating feeling it must be. But here's where it gets interesting. Leclerc's reaction to this stat is not what you'd expect. When asked about being ahead of Hamilton, Leclerc revealed that he didn't have high expectations initially, saying, "I didn't have much expectation. because I didn't know. This response might come as a surprise, given the intense rivalry between the two drivers. As a driver, Leclerc explains that he analyzes the data of other drivers. But there's always a question mark. How much of a driver's performance comes from their skills, and how much from the car? This curiosity drove Leclerc to wonder where he would stand against Hamilton. But what's fascinating is that Leclerc isn't focused on the fight against Hamilton at Ferrari. In fact, he believes that the current sporting performance of Ferrari isn't strong enough to compete for the top prizes in F1. Again, it's still very early on, and we are also not fighting for wins and pole positions, which changes things for a driver, Leclerc said. So, what's his priority? Leclerc's sole focus is on bringing Ferrari back to the top, and he's happy with his current performance. He emphasized the need to keep performing well, and acknowledged that it's too early to judge Hamilton's performance, given that it's a new team for him. Leclerc concluded by saying, "I'm sure he's still understanding and learning about all the different systems, the new systems for him." This raises an interesting question. Do you think Leclerc's approach is the right one, or should he be more focused on the rivalry with Hamilton? And this is the part most people miss, the fact that Leclerc's priorities are not about individual rivalries, but about the team's overall performance. But here's a controversial point. Could Leclerc's lack of focus on the Hamilton rivalry be seen as a sign of complacency? Or is it a strategic move to prioritize the team's goals? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you agree with Leclerc's approach, or do you think he should be more aggressive in his pursuit of beating Hamilton? Ferrari's future, Leclerc's rise, Hamilton's struggle. Imagine a scenario where a 7-time world champion, widely regarded as one of the greatest drivers in the history of Formula One, finds himself struggling to keep up with his younger teammate. This is the harsh reality that Lewis Hamilton is facing as he trails Charles Leclerc midway through his first season with Ferrari. The Belgian GP 2025 was a prime example of this, with Leclerc impressing in all conditions, while Hamilton slipped further off the pace. But here's where it gets interesting. It seems that Ferrari is now shifting its focus toward Leclerc, developing the car more in line with his feedback. This raises questions about Hamilton's future at Ferrari and whether he can adapt to the new car. As Ralf Schumacher pointed out, Leclerc had a perfect weekend with the new car, which is a good trend for him and the team. However, this doesn't make it easier for Hamilton, as the team will naturally listen to Leclerc's feedback more. Schumacher also noted that Hamilton, now 40, appears to be increasingly sensitive to change, which could be a major factor in his struggles. Perhaps the new rear suspension unintentionally suits Leclerc's driving style better, making it even harder for Hamilton to catch up. Despite showing flashes of promise, notably in China, Hamilton has mostly lagged behind Leclerc. This has led to doubts about the long-term outlook of their partnership, with Schumacher saying it's a bit sad to watch and questioning whether it makes sense to continue. Former Jaguar and Jordan technical boss Gary Anderson believes that Hamilton may also be reckoning with just how strong Leclerc is, having been Ferrari's central figure for years. On the other hand, team boss Frédéric Vasseur defended the balance in the team, stating that both Charles and Lewis are in good shape and the team is performing well. Interestingly, Hamilton's influence remains intact in some areas, with Italian engineer Luca Diella joining Ferrari as his new performance engineer, rekindling a technical partnership that spanned 2019 to 2024 at Mercedes. Pedro Della Rosa, who has worked closely with both Hamilton and Fernando Alonso, dismissed talk of age being the issue, saying that if you take care of yourself, you can extend your career for many years, and this is the part that most people miss. Hamilton's struggles are not just about him, but also about the team's dynamics and how they respond to his needs. But here's the question. Can Hamilton adapt to the new car and regain his competitive edge? Or will Ferrari's focus on Leclerc mark the beginning of the end of their partnership? The controversy surrounding Hamilton's age and his ability to compete at the highest level is sure to spark debate. Do you think Hamilton can still compete with the best, or is it time for him to hang up his helmet? Let us know in the comments. One thing is certain though, the upcoming races will be crucial in determining the fate of Hamilton's career at Ferrari.